Good morning, folks. It is Saturday, I think it's 4th or the 10th. I think what is it now? It's Saturday. Let me check my date here on my iPod. Oh, it's the 11th already. Go figure. Yeah, Saturday, January 11th. It is about 8:19 on this Saturday morning. A little cloudy outside, but that might clear off. We don't know. Anyway, let me see if I can redo this. Because yesterday I only did about 5 minutes, but I kind of want to do a little bit more talking about it. Like I mentioned in my audio review and in my text Dragon Natural speaking typed review of both 256 and of course the overall review of Countdown to Chaos, which of course you could see I have the covers right behind me. The big question is, even though, as I mentioned in both of those, that in my opinion, this story was put together on the fly, or possibly was advanced, forward a little bit, basically advanced forward a lot sooner than I think Ian Flynn was expecting. The obvious question is, with all the hype that it got into the months leading up to it, with all the hype, if you will, and I guess you could say it was kind of hyped up because we got it kind of hyped up even when we were even while Worlds Collide was going on, we had it hyped up a little bit. So my question is, do you think it lived up to the hype that it got, or at least the the hype? Do you think it lived up to it? I know some people, some fans out there are not too thrilled with how it came about. When you think about it, it's like when you think about it, whether you like Ian Flynn or you don't, whether you like how he writes the characters or you don't, you have to admit that this kind of seemed like something that was rushed. It's like you didn't really get any proper conclusion to the previous arc. You didn't get really no proper conclusion. All you got was in part 2, the epilogue, if you will, to the entire Death Egg Mark II, World Tour 2, Mecha Sally arc. All you got in part 2 of At All Cost, which is the epilogue to it, is you have Sonic arriving back in Mobotropolis, not New Mobotropolis, but Mobotropolis, and is the only one that basically remembers anything, and everybody else basically has to have something like, let's say this, Nicole, if you will, have to have something like Nicole in her portable self. All you need is someone like her to just basically hold on, and then there's your memories. And I called it, obviously. I was one of those out there that called that she was going to be the key to it. We don't really know if she knew about the dual realities even before that. But I'm pretty sure maybe she did, because, it's like, okay, Nagas is touching her, and all of a sudden he gets his dual realities, he gets his old memories of the old world back, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You did that for him, she did it for Tails, she did it for Rotor, Antoine, Bunny, now Sally and Amy. And it's like, the question I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know is, did she even really know about the entire dual reality, about the old world, even before this all happened? And my estimation as a fan, I think she did. I think from a storyline perspective, if you look at it and look at the littlest details, you have to say that, yeah, she kind of probably knew of the past world. And, maybe she didn't, but then again, that's just my opinion on it. But again, yeah, it's like, people like myself pretty much called that she was going to be that answer. Now, again, though, besides that, with all the changes and stuff that's occurred, do you think, honestly, it lived up to its hype? I mean, the hype that it was given on such short notice. And I have to say that it did a decent job. I mean, we could have gotten a little bit more time to build up to it, build up to this scenario, build up to this situation. You could have given it a little bit more time, yet we didn't get that. And I know a lot of people are going to come out and they're going to blame Archie Comics because of this and blame Ken Penders because of this, and you have all right to put the blame on them. You do. You have all the right in the world to put the blame on them. And here's why. You know, Archie Comics, Archie or Ken, whoever you want, which side you want to believe, you know, Archie obviously from several sources basically did not want to pay. They did not want to give Ken Penders his money. They said, look, you know, when you worked for us, you basically handed these characters over to us, so why should we pay you? And of course that started the whole fiasco that caused this. It caused this entire situation. And, you know, when one thinks about it, Archie Comics really doesn't have anybody to blame but themselves for this. They really don't. You know, Ken Penders could take some of the blame, there's no doubt about it, because obviously the guy just wants, you know, credit for what he's done, wants some, you know, moolah, if you will, in exchange for his works. But yet, you know, even though he says, hey, I'm willing to let you use the characters, he still wants something in return. And obviously Archie is in a financial situation, and this is the way I look at it, is in a financial situation to where they can't do that. They can't give Ken Penders the financial backing that he wants, or give him that, write that check for him and say, here, you know, this is for the use of your characters. They don't financially have that money behind them. That's my thought. That's the way I look at it. You know, like, they don't have that financial backing. Now, you know, despite that, I honestly think that even though on short notice, Countdown to Chaos did a decent job in not just reintroducing the characters to us longtime fans, but also introducing them to newer fans, to first-time fans, to the new generation. And, you know, like I mentioned in my review, you know, basically the way they used Countdown to Chaos was a setup to kind of bring the Freedom Fighters back, you know, re-debut them as almost, and I said this, and I'm sticking to my word on this because this is the way I look at it, almost as if they're going to be the Sonic comic answer, Archie's Sonic comic answer to Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's X-Men, DC's Justice League, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Wildstorm's Wildcats, if you will, and so on. That basically they're going to be that answer to that. Because when you take a look at each and every one of the characters, you take a look at Sally. She's got the energy blades now, and you can kind of see that in the CGI picture. Antoine, he's got his spin dash, the sword, the Black Knight sword, spin dash sword deal, basically the Black Knight sword spin dash. Bunny, she's got some kind of new ability with her robotic arm, basically some kind of shield or something like that. Rotor basically is like a muscle now. Tails is a flyer. Nicole is kind of like the Jean Grey, if you will, or the Voodoo, if you will, if you're into Wildcats, of the group. So here, basically, if you want to take it from an example, you've got your Black Widow, you've got your, you got your Wasp, your Black Widow, and I'm trying to think that you have your, okay, this is what you have here if you want to look from an Avengers comparison. You have your Wasp, you have your Black Widow, or you have your Black Widow, you have your Wasp, you have your She-Hulk, because sometimes she's part of the Avengers. You have your Hawkeye, you have your Iron Man, okay? You have your Captain America, your Iron Man, and whoever else they add on, Black Panther or something like that, whatever role Tails fills. Ant-Man, if you will, or something, or Giant Man, whatever other role they put in the event. Thor, your Thor character, yeah, Thor. Tails would be like your Thor, even though he doesn't have the powers of a Thor. So basically, that's when you look at it. Like I said, you have your Wasp. You have your Black Widow. You have your Wasp. You have your She-Hulk. You have your Hawkeye. You have your Captain America. You have your Iron Man. And you have your Thor. In a way, kind of ironic, huh? And then when you take a look, and if you want to look at it from a DC standpoint, you can put any characters together. But if you want to like use like the main group, Wonder Woman, Superman, I guess you could say your Batman, your okay, wait a minute, your Wonder Woman, your Flash, your Superman, your Green Arrow, your Batman, your Hawk Girl, and your Black Canary. Go figure. The point that I'm saying is this. The point I'm trying to get at is this. Here on this main cycle, these main two issues for the upcoming issue, is you basically have those similarities. And then when you take a look at other similarities, like the fact that they have Sky Patrol, that's basically their answer to the Watchtower in Justice League. That's their answer to the S.H.I.E.L.D. Air Base, the Avengers Air Base, on the S.H.I.E.L.D. Air Base in Avengers. That's their answer to all that. You know, and when you think about it, it does seem kind of ironic. And basically when you think about it, that's what Countdown to Chaos was basically meant to be. Whether it was supposed to come later on down the line, which I think was Ian Flynn's original intention. It was supposed to come later on, like near 275 or 300. I think that was his original intention. Or if it, or whatever, or whatever. But again, it's kind of ironic that even though Countdown to Chaos was published in these past 4 months, even though, like I said, it was scheduled to probably, in my opinion, Ian Flynn probably had it scheduled for later on, like around 275 or 300. Basically, that's what I think Countdown to Chaos was really about. It was to not only re-debut the team, with new designs and new looks and all that, but it was also to re-debut them as sort of being Archie Comics' answer to some of the Marvel groups like Guardians of the Galaxy, primarily Avengers, and from DC's side of things, Justice League. So that's what I think Countdown to Chaos was meant to do. Whether it was scheduled, whether it was forced upon release now, whether it was forced upon to be released now, or it was, then originally scheduled to be released maybe a couple of years from now, The point is, that's what Countdown to Chaos was meant to do. And again, it did, in a sense, live up to this, the shortened hype that it got, during Worlds Collide and during the summer of this year and even the earlier portion of this year. It kind of lived up to that shortened hype that it got from Ian Flynn and Paul Kaminsky and those that work on the comic. So in a sense, it did kind of live up to it, but on short notice, which is why a lot of people are okay with it, but also there are some that are like, yeah, it was a good story, but it could have done more, or they could have been more to it, or they could have at least properly finished the other arc before they did this. And, that might be true. That might be very, very true. So, again, though, like I said, my honest answer, and I know I'm trying not to make this long or anything, folks, but my honest answer is that even though on short notice, it did live up to a little bit of it did live up, in a sense, to its expectations that were thrown out there almost on the fly, along with the story, as it was being put together on the fly, in my opinion. I mean, I know it takes months and months in advance to do it, but I'm pretty sure as soon as Ian Flynn got word of what was going on, he basically, on the fly, said, okay, I'm going to have to pull this story. He probably had the story already planned out and everything for, like I said, years to, for years later, going up to 275, maybe 300. I don't think he expected to have to pull it out so soon, or put it together so soon and publish it. But even though, whatever the case is, I think it did a decent job on the short notice that it was given. I think it did a decent job of living up to its hype. And again, the way I look at it as being more of a not only a rebirth of the characters and a re-debut of the characters for us older fans, a reintroduction and an introduction and debut for the newer fans. But basically now, it seems to me that they're making them almost into that Justice League Avengers-like mold, when you think about it. Because one, you got the flying air bases now, which is the home away from homes. You have each character with a special ability or power. What more similarities can you not see? So, that's all I'm going to say on this. I think it did live up to its hype, and that's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it lived up on its short-term hype that it got? And do you see exactly the similarities that I see? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to you later. God bless. Take care.